How's everyone doing? Did y'all eat some good food?
Yes.
Good. Has anyone else talked?
Yeah, we just finished, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry I missed that. I think personal testimonies are wonderful. They're very encouraging, so that's why I was happy to come and share with you guys when Vicki asked me. My name is Tonya Woller, like Vicki said. I've known Vicki and Stacy for about 25 years. I was thinking last night when I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it, so I need to write all this stuff down so they can share it. So I'm 48 years old. I'm married and I have 2 kids in college. My youngest just went to college this year, so we're empty nesters. It's really weird. If any of y'all have done that, Stacy will do it soon. My daughter's at Texas Tech. She's in Lubbock. I'm going up tomorrow to see her. First time I've seen her since we moved her up there. And my son is up in San Marcos at Texas State. He's 20. I just want to give you a look at my journey to this whole food, plant-based way of living. It started about 5 years ago. So I came across a page on Facebook called 100 Days of Real Food. And it was a blog and a Facebook page. She's put out a cookbook, and that was the first time that I've heard of real food. I know that may sound a little strange, but it was just something that I didn't think about much, was my food. I just kind of went to the store, bought what I was used to eating, went out to eat. I had teenagers, fast food line, whenever we needed it. So I really wasn't thinking a lot about my food. And reading her blog and her Facebook page was the first time I started thinking about what is real food and what am I eating. So that was really new for me. I learned a lot from her about reading labels, and that was really new for me too. So I also started following someone called The Food Babe. She's on Facebook if you want to look her up. And she talks a lot about our health and our food and GMOs, and she ran a campaign with Kraft, and the fake food, that macaroni and cheese is made of. Because in other countries, they don't make it the way they make it in the U.S. because they have different laws. So that was real interesting. I've learned a lot. So technology has been my friend. These last few years, you can kind of click anywhere and find a link to anything, and I've learned so much. It was that point that I started making green smoothies and using them as meal replacements, and I did lose some weight doing that, but I gained it all back. So I want to tell you some of my numbers. So I'm about 5'5" almost, and before I had babies, 20 years ago, I weighed 120 pounds. And after I had both of my babies, I weighed about 130 pounds. And then about 10 years later, I weighed 145 pounds. And then I went through a divorce, and I started a new career, and I got remarried, and life happened, and stress happens, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not a physically active person. I don't purposefully exercise. I don't go to the gym. I don't walk in my neighborhood. But I have a relatively stressful and physically tasking job. I work 12 hours on the floor. I'm a registered nurse at a hospital in San Antonio. And this is where I tell you that it's true. In the medical field, we do not get a lot of nutrition training or barely any nutrition training. So that is true. We learn how to treat your illnesses once you've already acquired them. Pretty much. It depends on the person, but basically that's how it goes. So back to my numbers. At my heaviest, probably in the last 7 years, I was at 171 pounds. So then enter Vicki and Facebook. So a few years ago, I was happy to connect with Vicki on Facebook. And I'm sure I had already seen the movie Forks Over Knives by then on Netflix, but I rewatched it with more interest after reading Vicki's Facebook page a lot. I particularly took note to Dennis's heart attack and the hardship that they went through during that time. And I was really drawn to that. I don't know if it was at that point she became so much more fervent or I was just paying more attention. But I was really drawn to read all of the information that she posted. the articles that she posted, the videos that she posts on lectures and things like that. So the blinders kind of were fully coming off at that point for me. And I was stunned at what I did not know already. I talked to my husband more and more about us changing our diet, and he was in agreement that we needed to add more vegetables in our diet and get rid of a lot of the processed food that we were eating. And I literally cleaned out our cabinets at that point. And I took a lot of my food to Bible study. If I was doing that now, I would throw it away because I wouldn't want anyone to have that yucky food. But at that point, I took it to the ladies at Bible study and was like, I cleaned out my cabinets. Who wants this? Sugar, blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff. And most of it went home with other people. And I started to make more contact with Vicki through Facebook, asking her questions and commenting on things that she was writing. So at the end of 2016, I decided to go get a physical and get my labs drawn. With all the articles I was reading, I was wondering what my numbers looked like. So in December, I went for a physical and I got labs. And I got a phone call on a Thursday. And a nurse said, we got your labs back and the doctor would like to review them with you. And I said, okay. This was a Thursday. And I said, well, over the weekend, we're leaving to go camping and go on a trip to Big Bend for Christmas. And then we have the holidays and all that. So how about the first of the year? And she said, how about tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock? And so I was like, oh my goodness, I'm a nurse. And I was like, why do they want to see me tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock? I'm getting chills even just saying that, thinking of that memory. So I told my husband, he had to work, and he was like, well, tell me. My husband's a nurse too, and he was like, well, you can tell me what they say, call me. And so I went in, and I was nervous, and they started reviewing my results with me. And so my cholesterol was 215, my A1C was 5.9, which is pre-diabetic, my LDL was 145, and my liver enzymes were elevated. And they started questioning my habits, and was I a drinker? And did I take lots of Tylenol, because that affects your liver? And then they did a physical exam. They wanted to see if my liver was enlarged. And I was like, oh my goodness. A lot of things that I know too much about were going on in my head. And basically I had a fatty liver. That's why my liver enzymes were elevated. And I was thinking, seriously? I'm 48 years old. 47. I was 47 at the time. And did she just say I was pre-diabetic? And I was like, that just can't be me. And they were saying, and we'll talk about putting you on some medications for your cholesterol. And I was just really shocked. I was very shocked. I left the office saying, oh no, I'm not going to go down this road. So we went on vacation and we made it through the holidays, and this is all in my mind during the break, the holiday break, and Christmas and everything. And I was like, I'm just going to have to make a big change. Because as I said, we had been making changes, getting rid of our processed food and eating more vegetables and those kinds of things. But we changed to a whole food plant-based diet. No meat, no dairy, no oil, no refined sugar. And Vicki armed me with a lot of great information and recipes to help get us started. I am not a cook. I don't like to cook. I don't like being in the kitchen. I was raised with a phenomenal mother who cooked and baked.
Her mother's the best cook in the world.
You don't even know. But I didn't spend a lot of time in the kitchen growing up, and it just wasn't my thing. So I kind of had like an emotional, psychological thing going on there, when I was like, I don't like to cook, I'm not a good cook, and so it was a little hard for me. But Vicki invited me to her home, as I'm sure she has some of you, and she cooked for me, and we watched a video, and we talked about books. She brought out all of her books for me, all her books, and it was wonderful. And so I just want to wrap up by telling you the 3 things that have helped me and that have changed. So what do I eat? Potatoes, of course. I love mashed potatoes. They're easy, you guys. It really didn't take me long to fix them without butter or milk. Seriously, at first though, I promise, I was like a little, because it was a mind thing, I was like a little sliver. Just this little sliver, I would cut it. Just a little sliver of butter in my potatoes, you know, because I was like, it was weird. And so I was like, what are they going to taste like? You know, they're just potatoes. They taste fine. Lost my place. Yeah, and so sometimes we ate a lot of potatoes, a lot of baked potatoes and vegetables in the beginning. Like I said, I'm not comfortable in the kitchen, and I work really long days, and I was like, what are we going to eat? And you just kind of make it basic. Our emotions and our habits are strong. And, you know, it's a lot to kind of deal with. You think it's something basic, just changing your food, but it's a lot. It's a lot to do for some of us. Our favorite recipes are, I just listed a couple of them, I make a spinach and mushroom enchilada with a pot of pinto beans and some brown rice. I make, one of my favorites is the lentil vegetable soup. I think is that a McDougal or a Forks Over Knives thing? I can't remember.
Well, I think they both have.
Yeah, just some stir fry, you know, veggies and some rice, mashed potatoes or baked potatoes and vegetables for breakfast. I always eat blueberries, oatmeal with blueberries in them, and if you put bananas and a few pecans crushed up in your oatmeal, it tastes like banana bread, I promise. I have some strong emotions about food, and I am a person that if I don't like it or it doesn't taste good, I'm just not going to eat that. I'm just not. I'm just that way. My husband is a person where he's just like, he was raised as a different person than me, and he's like, it's food. It's just food. You just need it for your body. You need it for your health. Just eat it. And I'm just like, you are crazy. If it doesn't taste good, I'm not eating that. So I eat a lot of food, and I think it's Dr. McDougal that says just eat the food, just eat the food. So that's kind of like, what do we eat? My second point is, what do my numbers look like now? So in 3 months, I had my labs redrawn. I told you that my heaviest weight was 171. When I started tracking it in January, I was 166. In the first 12 months, in the first 3 months, I lost 12 pounds. And I got my labs redrawn after that 3 months, and I was no longer pre-diabetic. My liver enzymes were completely normal. My LDL was 105, and that was from 145. And my cholesterol from 215 had dropped to 162. And that's 53 points. I was surprised that in 3 months, I bet you that they changed faster than that. But I waited 3 months to go get my labs redrawn. I could probably guarantee you they dropped faster than that. And I knew that because I got my labs drawn at the hospital that I work at, and so I cheated and looked myself up for those results. But my doctor didn't know that, and when they got the results faxed back to their office, it's probably protocol. I work in a hospital, I don't work in a doctor's office, so I don't know. It's probably protocol for them to say, oh, we got these labs back, let's call this person and make an appointment to review all these new labs. And so I got a phone call, we got your labs back, can you make an appointment, we want to review these with you. And I was like, well, I kind of already reviewed them myself, and they're great. I don't know that I need to come in for an appointment to talk about them. And I think she was just doing her job, and she's like, okay, so when do you want to come? Okay. So I made an appointment, and I said, but you might just point them out to him before I come. And I got a phone call 30 minutes later, and she said, you know what, you don't need to come in. She was like, we showed him to him, and he doesn't need to see you. And I just kind of laughed. And I almost kind of was like, no, I'll come, because I kind of want to talk to him about what I did. But I was like, no, I don't need to pay the money and the copay and all that stuff. So I didn't go back in. Let's see. Yeah. So from when I started keeping track in January, I was 166 pounds. I've lost 20 pounds total. And that was probably by July, I had lost 20 pounds. I think my next step is to add some exercise. I haven't done any exercise other than, like I told you, my job. So my husband and I have talked about it when you start, adding some exercise in there, and I'm confident that I'll still lose some more weight. I'm not real self-conscious, thinking that I, have this goal weight that I need to get down to. But I'm so pleased with the weight that I've lost and feeling like my health is so much better. And coming from the road that I felt like I was on was kind of a scary thing. So I'm so pleased. I think I will continue to lose some weight, getting in shape, making myself stronger, having better stamina. I think that's really important the older we get. But the third thing is, how's any of this been possible for me? I had to come to realization that my food was an emotional issue for me. And the only way I can say that this was possible was because there were years that I told myself I needed to do better and make better choices. But it comes down to this. The Bible says in Romans 12,